Hi, this is the Honest Poppy. Welcome to the leg stretch video. Now, this is a great video to use if you've done any of my leg workouts or even after a full body workout where you've done some leg work. Come over to this video, get some stretches in, and you will feel much more comfortable afterwards. We're going to start with the stretches that we do that are generally good after doing the side leg lift series. If you don't have a block to lie on, that's fine. You can use a rolled up towel or a cushion. It's just more comfortable to have something underneath your head when you're lying on your side. So usually you will have finished your side leg lift series, whether we've done the classic series, whether we've done side kick, or whether we've done the bend and stretch version. Whichever version we've done, you're generally going to be feeling quite a lot of fatigue in these muscle groups. So to start with, you're going to bend both legs, hug your top leg up to your chest, and circle your ankle round. And then you're going to change direction. Now, for all of these stretches, you can hold them as long as you like. If you want to do a longer stretch, feel free to do that. It's up to you. I'm just going to demonstrate them all so you've got the full lot to try out and you can see which ones fit you best. After having your leg up here, we're going to bring the leg back behind you, stretching into the quads and the hip flexor. You can either stay on your side like this, or if you've got a bit more range available in your ankle, you can roll onto your back, tuck in that foot underneath, and just stay in this position again for as long as you want. Usually you'll find that after doing the side leg lift series, if you've done a challenging version, it's very nice to just stay here for a little bit while you rest it out. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to sit up and you're going to bring that leg across the other leg. So my leg that I'm stretching at the moment is my left leg. So I've brought my left leg across the other leg. I'm then going to take my opposite arm, so my right arm around, keeping myself upright as I rotate towards that leg, and then I'm pressing into that leg with my arm. Now you might find that you don't have enough range to get into this position with your arm. You might find that you can just about get here, so you can hold onto your leg like that. If you can get your arm around, maybe it's just there, but if you're bringing it in through here, be careful. You're probably going to be in that position with your elbow. This is going to hyperextend your elbow joint, which is not good for your joint. So just always rotate that arm inwards so that you can push with the side of your elbow as you come round. And then you're sitting up tall as you rotate round. You should be getting into the rotators and the glutes on the left leg here, or the leg that you are stretching, and potentially a little bit into your lower back as well. Okay? Hold that as long as you like, and then we'll move on to the next one. The next stretch I call the Z stretch. So the leg that you are stretching is going to lead. It's going to be the one in front. You're going to bend both of your knees, okay? And when you do this stretch, I don't want you to bring yourself around with your body and then follow with your pelvis. I want you to lead with your pelvis, because that's where the stretch is going to come from. You want to take your opposite hip bone and pull it towards the opposite knee. So I'm trying to take my right hip bone of my pelvis, or the front bone of my pelvis, and take it round, imagining I can touch my knee with it. And when you do that, you pull your pelvis round into rotation. Your body is then just going to follow the pelvis, and you're going to rest your arms gently. So don't think about pulling yourself around with your body, because then you're just going to get a stretch through your middle of your back. We want to pull around with the pelvis and then come round, and you should be feeling this stretch in a really good fatigued area in the glutes and the rotators on this left leg at the back here, okay? So holding that stretch, again, as long as you want to, and then we're gonna move into the abductor stretch. So this is the outer muscles of the thigh and the glutes. So the muscles that move your leg outwards. So what you're gonna do, again, I'm still stretching my left leg. So that's the leg that's gonna go on the bottom. Whichever leg you're stretching is on the bottom for the stretch. You're gonna go onto your side as if you're lying sideways on the beach. And then you're gonna bring that top leg back, okay? What you're gonna do then is you're gonna fold yourself forwards, creating an L shape with your body. So don't leave this shoulder behind, pulling yourself like that. You want to bring this shoulder, rotating it towards the ground in front of you so that your shoulders are square, and you're going to lean forward. If you really don't feel anything, try coming down onto your elbows when you do this. You're going to be feeling a stretch down the side of your thigh when you do this. Can also go down into the calf muscle. That's quite normal if the nerves are getting stretched as well. But generally, you should be feeling the stretch right down the side of your thigh when you do this stretch, okay? Hold that as long as you want to. Okay, next we're going to move into our final real kind of hip joint stretch, which is a modified pigeon pose I like to do. And after that, I will show you the hamstring stretch. So for the modified pigeon pose, I don't like to rotate the hip or the knee, just to keep the joints a little bit more stable. This often aggravates the joints. So a usual pigeon pose would be with the leg rotated, that front leg rotated. We're going to keep it neutral. So you're just going to bend your knee and rest on your heel, keeping the other leg neutral as well. It's just going to go straight back behind you, okay? Your knee is pointing down, your foot is pointing flat on the mat. Firstly, you're going to lie down on that front leg. So just reach your arms away, lying down on the front leg, and you should be feeling this stretch all in that hip joint on the front leg at the moment. Probably in the inside groin area as well. And then stretch your arms away so you're getting a shoulder stretch as well at the same time. And again, hold this as long as you feel comfortable. And then we're going to move on to the next step of this stretch. You're going to walk yourself back, and now we're going to be stretching the other leg, okay? So when we come back like this, we're stretching into the hip flexor on the other leg, okay? I'm just going to switch my legs around to demonstrate, but you stay in this position until you do the full stretch on the other side, okay? So we're going to bring that leg back, okay? So the position I'm in here, I'm stretching this muscle here, okay? And you might even feel it coming into your ab area. That's that hip flexor going into a stretch. If you don't feel any stretch here, try and focus on not extending your back. Try not to arch your back. You're going to be pushing this hip down towards the mat, but you might find that you need to raise yourself up a little bit, either with a block or a book or something, to get that little bit of extra height to stretch. Otherwise, you can also add a little bit more to that stretch by bringing the opposite hand around the back, bending your knee and holding that position. Now, you are in danger of forcing too much of a stretch when you do this, so please be careful. If it's painful, please don't do it. But if it's comfortable and just giving you a nice stretch into the quads and the hip flexor, then great. Okay, and then obviously you're going to flip around and do the other side. With all of these stretches, you're going to do, I'm showing you one side, you're going to do the same on both sides. Okay, after that, we're going to move into our hamstring stretch. Now, this is a really good stretch for this part of your hamstring, not so much this part. Your classic hamstring stretch is usually with a straight leg and leaning forward and getting the whole back of the leg. But when you've done some of my tougher versions of the shoulder bridge, you're going to find you really need to be stretching around this area. So this stretch is great for that. You're going to start with yourself in half kneeling, and you're going to lean down on that front leg in a central position, so hands on either side of the leg. And then you're just going to bring yourself back, keeping a bend in the knee, but bring yourself back until you start to feel that stretch coming into this area, okay? So don't straighten your knee all the way, but you can shift yourself back until you feel that stretch, and it should feel really good on a fatigued muscle. Again, hold this as long as you want. I usually do about a count of 10, and then you're gonna walk yourself around to the inside. So you're keeping that stretch, but walking yourself around towards the inside, and you'll notice that the stretch comes around to the inner hamstring area. Okay, it's not the adductors, it's the inner hamstring area. And again, hold that, walk yourself around through neutral and then round to the outside. And this will move that stretch around to the outside of the hamstring. Okay, hold that as long as you want to. Coming back to center and then going into that more classic hamstring stretch, you're gonna bring yourself back. You can either sit back on your heel at the back, or if you're not able to do that because of your knees, you can just straighten your leg in this position. Okay, but if you're coming back, try and drop your hip down as well. It's just gonna add a little bit more to that stretch. And then you're gonna move your ankle through range as well, which will just add a little bit of extra stretch to the calf muscle as well. Okay, so that's your hamstring stretch on this leg. Then you're gonna come back up into that half kneeling. We're gonna go into the hip flexor on the opposite leg, okay? Again, just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna switch my legs around, but you would only switch them around when you do the whole other side. So the hip flexor on the other leg is this one here, okay? And be careful not to tilt your pelvis, okay? If you tilt your pelvis forward and you just kind of lunge into this one, you're extending your back and you're actually releasing the hip flexor. So you're not gonna get much of a stretch there. You need to keep yourself in that neutral, almost a posterior tilted pelvis. Keep your back flat and push your hip forward, and you'll see you can't get nearly as far going forward. And you're just gonna move in and out of that stretch gently, not bouncing, just pushing into it lightly and releasing, and push and release. And if you'd like to hold that stretch, don't force it into 100% stretch. Just sit around 80% on that stretch. It should feel good. It shouldn't feel really painful. Stretches should feel comfortable. We've got to be really careful that we don't overstretch. Okay, and that's your hip flexor stretch. Okay, and that's my leg stretch series that I like to use in my classes. I usually try and integrate them into my sessions, but when you're doing my videos, you'll probably find there isn't enough time for the stretches. So I've done this video for you to come to after you've done a leg session or even a full body session where we've done some leg work, because this will really help your recovery over the next day or two after doing a tough leg session. I hope you enjoyed that. Any comments or questions, put them below, and don't forget to subscribe to The Honest Poppy.